Try this.
Welcome to the Charlotte Chatter Podcast with Kerry Clift and Mitch Bennett. Now here are your hosts, Kerry and Mitch.
All right, here we are, season 2, episode 17, and we have a special guest with us tonight, Kirk Stierwalt from Leedy, Oklahoma. Thank you, Kirk, for being with us.
So, you bet. Glad to be here.
We're gonna have a lot of fun tonight, and we're gonna make our Charlets even prettier because of your expertise. So we're gonna give a lot of fun facts and help these youngsters coming up. That we got junior nationals a month from now in Minnesota, so. Maybe we can give them a couple of tips. So.
Oh yeah, well, we can do some lot of good, I think, tonight. So.
Yep, it'll be great.
Nice.
So first off, we mentioned I have a little bit of. We've been watching the cattle market, Kirk, and I don't know if you have been also in your neck of the woods, but I was on Cattle USA this last week and just prodding around looking at prices, but it has been awesome. So. Tri-State Livestock, some 840-pound steers brought 234 pounds, so that's $19.65 a head. That's on McCook, Nebraska. Is that right?
Yep,
Mitch?
McCook.
Okay.
Yep, that's where my brother lives. Yep.
Okay. There was a place in Fort Pierre, South Dakota, 655-pound steers bought 302, $1,977 each. That is great, and these are Charolais cross calves, I should mention. Another group in steers in, boy, I'm a butcher this. It's in Arizona, but Marana Stockyards in Arizona, 693-pound steers, about $1,950. So there's some consistent factor there. Watched a sale the other day, some little lighter steers, weighed 606, about $251 a pound, so $1,519 a head. That's in southern Oklahoma, Ada, Oklahoma.
Ada.
Ada. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Brent Thiel the other day shot us a text after we did an episode with him, but he said in Iowa there were some steers that weighed 1,500 pounds that brought $191. So that's $2,865 a calf. So, guys, this market is red hot no matter where it is, and we better enjoy it. So,
Well, yeah, and I was just came from the Marina VIP, and of course there's people from all over the country there, and guys like, what do you? I mean, he's an ag teacher, and he's like, how do I convince a family that they need to, spend $4,000 on a steer? And I said, well. Have you seen what them things are bringing lately?
Right.
I mean, that's that's good money. Don't get me wrong here, but I'm just still saying is like, them things are, that's just no breaking, no pampering, nothing,
So, yeah.
Yeah, you're pushing that much, $2,000 on some of them wean calves. I mean, bigger wean calves almost.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But what's been fun, if you get a chance to go on Cattle USA, just, you can go on there and click between, today there was probably about 20 different sales going on. So you can kind of bounce around and see what the market's doing. And boy, fat cattle, they're bringing $1,500 to $2,000. I mean, a bull, I saw one bring, what was it? About $2,800 for a big, 5-year-old bull or whatever. So
I heard over 3 on one, but our Facebook commenter the other day about just remember the people have to make money that are buying the cattle. Well, I don't know if that guy is very good at math, but when they're buying them $1,800 and selling them at $3,000 finished,
that works.
$6 corn, $7 corn don't seem too bad.
There's money to be made by all, but it's good for the producers to start making it, with the high cost of feed and everything else that's been hitting us. So,
when cattle were cheap, and they were, and we always have to figure like, this would be years ago, but I'm just saying like, and that's just the difference from then till now. But like, I can remember when, like, if they weren't going to bring $1,200, $1,200 to $1,500. Now this is like a club cow. I'm talking about like just somebody needing a calf and all that. And we'd be better off just to not even get the money and the expense in. That's farther up the chain now. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is a good market, and
That's good. I mean, it's been a long wait. So
yes, yeah.
And I was thinking
I
about
gonna
that.
hang out for a bit.
Yeah, I was thinking about what you just said there about if you can't get the $1,200-$1,500. I was thinking today, I'm like, these sales are going to have phenomenal quality because
yeah,
those ones that you were pushing the envelope with, and yeah, everybody has one or two. You're like, I don't know if I should put them on. You ain't
yeah,
going to put them on.
Yeah.
exactly.
They're just going to be, they're going to be gone.
Well, I mean, it's just like too low, like I mean, and it sounds good, but I mean, the inputs are definitely way
Yeah.
higher. I mean, like I mean, it's just like I mean, it ain't all it ain't all
Yeah.
profit. No, that's right.
No,
So
Trade more dollars.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well,
I think
before we get
a
into
friend
it,
of mine from Canada. Now this would be Canadian money, so there would be like a 30 cents difference there as far as on the dollar. But I think he said he hauled a 1,900-pound cow to the sale barn. I mean, that was used up, and I think she ended up bringing a little over 3,000. So
woo.
yeah, I mean, so yeah. So
this might
doing
be
pretty good up there too.
this might be the time to really look at your coal cows and say, yeah, you know what, you looked at me sideways, or you ran over that fence one too many times, and send them
Oh
off.
yeah, oh yeah. And we've already did that. So anyway, so yeah, you bet. Especially on some of them recips or whatever. But I mean, like you said, or any of them. But I'm just saying is like, but yeah, they're definitely worth bringing or worth taking off if they're not going to work. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, yeah, Kirk, before we get on to your family history, I got to cover something with Mitch because he had a tragedy at his house this last day or 2 days ago. So it was a huge tragedy, and I don't know if it was a moment of silence or do we play the Mitch's rooster died.
Oh no.
Well, I can't confirm it, but there's enough feathers to fill a 5-gallon bucket in my barn, and he is not there.
Yeah.
So there's a huge story behind this rooster. What's his name? Larry, Harry, Fred? What was it?
Gary
the rooster. There's been videos of Gary the rooster chasing Mitch, and so this has been a project. So
he actually took me on the whole morning. He would chase me on the 4-wheeler. I mean, he was that mean. Chase me. I'm filling up a bucket out of a bulk bin, and he's behind me. Just all of a sudden, I whacked him with the show stick so hard it knocked him over sideways. He get up, and it was like a cartoon. He shook his head just like on a cartoon, and then he was going to come after me again. That was the morning that he disappeared. That evening he disappeared. But
he's like the road runner, huh?
I didn't think anything would kill him. So I got a trap set. I got to see if I can catch this thing. I want to see what actually killed him, because I actually wanted to have a sending off party of my own for him because he was such an a-hole. But I think something. And I thought it was a skunk because I smelled a faint skunk smell. But Brad Otto told me that he thinks it's a mink.
Oh.
Because he said minks smell like skunks. Evidently, Brad Otto's a chicken expert. I didn't know that. So
well, good. We're sorry for your loss. I figured I'd play the taps for your morning of your rooster. So being the rooster, aka Beaner, but sorry about your chicken. So maybe next April you can get a whole flock of them on April 1st.
Even meaner one.
Yeah. Anyway, well, let's on to business. So, Kirk, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where you're born and raised, and how'd you get into this crazy world of agriculture and beef cattle?
Yeah, well, there's some trivia things about me that probably not everybody knows, but I am from Iowa. I'm from Southern Iowa. I was raised in a town called Sheraton, which is, I'd say it's probably 30 minutes north of the Missouri border and about right kind of south of Des Moines there. So anyway, it'd be called South Central, but I actually wasn't a farm kid. So that's one of the first things that's a little bit unusual because I was raised in town. and my mom and dad ran a shoe store and a boot store for 57 years. And
wow.
Yeah, so they were in the retail business. And so, yeah, I was not a farm kid, which was very unusual then.
Yeah.
My granddad had Hereford cattle. My granddad on the other side had Angus cattle. And, but anyway, but I took to the liking of the show of, just 4-H and the show, county fair and, showing cattle and all that jazz. And I wanted to do it. And so I kept my cattle out there at my granddad's house and at our farm, and like I said, he had registered Hereford cattle. So that's what I started with. And, we have Hereford cattle, and a lot of people kind of think that's a little bit odd, also, but heck, that's kind of where I got my start, and so I had the show box with the Hereford bull on it with the horn, the big bold proud breed decal, you betcha, so anyway, so
that's awesome.
I clipped. My granddad was older. Of course, the grooming wasn't as complex as it is now, but anyway, he was kind of one of them guys that he pushed me to do it, and so believe it or not, I clipped my first calf when I was 6 years old, and pretty much butchered the crap out of it.
Well, that's how you learn.
Yeah, I gave it a haircut that would last. But so I continued with that. So another thing that was kind of trivial about me is I was actually really good at art, and but my dad was too. My dad was like a really what I'd call an artist by nature, just because he can whittle. He'd draw our Christmas cards. He just kind of one of those guys. Well, I got that from him, and the good Lord above, and so I had I took art in school. I actually took stuff to believe it or not, art shows and entered stuff, pottery and all that. But I didn't really. My mom, I think she probably wanted me to pursue that. I had a chance to pursue that, but all I wanted to do is give a cow a haircut. So that's really what I did. But anyway, and I always kind of say, did that kind of help me in what I end up doing?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So a lot of times your gift or your talent or your knack or blessing or whatever you want to call it, a lot of times it might not be, directed, but it is kind of, pertaining as well. So anyway, so I continued to clip, and like I said, I remember in 81, like I said, I was mainly county fair stuff. I'd go to state fair and go to Exarban. Of course, the Exarban isn't what it is like now. It'd be the one out there by the racetrack, the old Exarban. So anyway, but I went out there, and like I said, that would be pretty much the extent of my, showing. So anyway, in 81, I got a call from a guy to come clip some bulls, 5 key bulls, and in Colorado, and I'd never been there. Hadn't been out of the state really that much, but it was getting around a little bit. That like I said, I don't know. I worked hard at that clipping and tried to get better, and that's all I could think about. I just infatuated with grooming cattle, and so anyway. I thought I was going to fly to Denver, but anyway, he ended up buying me a train ticket to Denver. So I rode the train from Osceola, Iowa to Fort Morgan, Colorado. So, but anyway, so that was in 81. He had these 5 key bulls. I clipped them, and anyway, he wanted me to stay and clip his daughter's steer.
Yeah.
And I needed to get back to Iowa State. I did go to Iowa State, so. Anyway, I was needing to get back to college because I'd been out there a few days. I was like, man, I got to go. And I never will forget, he said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $300 and if you'll stay and clip him, which back in 81, that was pretty good. And then he popped off and said he'd give me 10% if it won Grand Reserve. And I was like, maybe I can hang out here a bit. But anyway, to make a long story short, the steer won the steer show, and
wow,
it brought a record 30,000 that year because it was a Colorado kid, and I just like, and you know what, I got paid pretty good there, but the big thing was like that wasn't the big part. The big part was that I got another call because nobody knew who I was.
Yeah.
I was just a kid out there trying. And then actually I
Right.
went. So, I rocked along there, and there was a steer that same year called JR that won 3 state fairs, and that all kind of came together. And anyway, but like I said, things rocked along there. I ended up, after I got done with college, I went to Hartman's and worked a year there. And they were in the Keys, so I ran their show barn and did all that. And then I ended up going to Brownwood, Texas to a guy named Dr. Wise, and his kids were showing, and I went down to Jimmy Harrell, and actually that got me to Leedy, Oklahoma, and so that's where I met my wife, Julie. And so I ended up, like I said, I actually went to Brownwood first, and then came to Leedy's, and then so anyway, and then I've been here ever since. So anyway,
Wow.
but and it's like we obviously started small, and we started, I didn't really say what we do here now, but I'm just saying, but we started the clinics in '87. So
Oh, wow.
I've been doing them for a good bit. So and it started small. We'd have 5 or 6 people come to our house, and and it's pretty. And then we just kind of started expanding. Then we moved out here and started trying to build a place, and they expanded from there. And then we built a barn with a bunkhouse, and then so we used to do for 18 years we did clinics here at the house. We didn't go anywhere. And that was great. I mean, like we did 7 in the summer, and that was it. Well, anyway, so then we rocked along there, and like I said, I ended up putting some cows together. I was trimming feed on the side. Of course, I was still clipping and doing all that. I was self-employed, so I was just kind of out there hustling, trying to make a dollar,
Right.
and make it work, and so. But anyway, so. Anyway, 9/11 happened. That kind of in 2001. That kind of happened, and people weren't wanting to travel, and so that's kind of where all the clinics on the road kind of came about, because we did it for 18 years, and then I decided if we're going to keep this thing going. I mean, we're all about helping people, and I really enjoyed the grooming. Still, I still enjoy it today. I still clip today, believe it or not. And so, me and my son, but, so I just, I didn't want to lose it. I felt like I had to keep it going. So I started kind of just, taking, I instead of trying to get 20 people to me or something like that, I just go to them, So, we found out, that wasn't all bad. So anyway,
well, that's how I met you. You came to a clinic here, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years ago in Ellensburg.
Oh, yeah.
And
So
and we had a great turnout, 100 some kids, and learned a lot that way. So
yeah. And like you said, I mean, I'm probably, and so it's just kind of, and it's been a slow, growth. It has, it's been good. It's just, but it's changed a little bit, and like on the clinic stuff, technology got involved. When I was showing, things were pretty basic. I learned with a sheep head. That's kind of what, that's what you had. And I'm going to say, when people came here, that's all they had. And if they needed a pair clipper, that's what we gave them. That's all it was. And then, and I'm going to say, I've did different podcasts before, but I do get asked that question. What's the one thing that you think's probably changed the industry the most, in your mind over the years? For me, I think it's the little clippers. I think them, when the Andis clippers came into play, it just got more youth participation, because when it was a sheep head, it was kind of a guy thing and an older guy. You sure didn't see no women doing it or girls, and so it not only got more female participation, but it got more youth participation, so younger kids doing it, to the fact that when we got done doing the clinics here at the house and we kind of went on the road, we're actually having a housing issue, because we have a bunkhouse. That's where the guys were staying, and the gals would stay in the house. Well, then at the end there, we're like having more girls than guys, and we was kind of thinking about having to swap all that out, And
that's funny.
Yeah, and so I mean, and and I'm still going. Like I said, we got a clinic starting tomorrow with Cimarron Trailer
Oh,
here in
wow.
Sugar Creek. That's going to be close. And like I said, I was in North Dakota, last weekend, and like I said, then the next weekend, after that, I'm going off to Canada. So I mean,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I mean, Canada's reopened, and you know what, I'm pretty much booked. From now till probably about this time next year, right at the moment.
Right.
So,
Well,
anyway,
that's great. You had mentioned in there a little bit back, but a steer named JR, and I believe it was I heard it on Matt Lautner's podcast talking about that steer named after J.R. Ewing, I believe, off the TV show Dallas.
That would have been the Yellowstone of the '80s, right?
Yeah,
But anyway,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, exactly. What was that? What was there was a pretty cool story behind that steer that Matt had talked about, but I don't remember the story. But he'd won quite a few shows and stuff, and
yeah, he won quite a few shows, and he became fairly I don't know what you say, famous or well known, or people, and actually Lautner's had raised him, Wayne Lautner, and anyway, but to make a long story short, Herb Vogel, that family won Houston, and he came up here, and he was wanting to, I don't know, they were looking for a steer to go to Dallas State Fair, and he kind of caught wind of him, and so they came up here and purchased him, and anyway, he ended up, like I said, he won the Iowa State. Now these are World Steer shows, so it's a lot different back then, than now. I mean, usually what they used to do after the junior show, then they would do the open show, and it was like anything goes, no rules. I mean, just have at it, and it almost got to be like a state playoff like type deal. I mean, like you'd have some of the better end calves, steers that come out of Missouri and Illinois and Nebraska and Iowa, and you know what? A lot of times they trade trade owners. You know what I mean? You might be totally either owned by a group of people, or it's like it was like and I mean, and it was fun. It was like I said, and people used to really enjoy them things, and but that's it. Steer ended up winning the World Steer Show at the Iowa State Fair. Then I think 10 days later, he won the World Steer Show at the Nebraska State Fair, and then he went on and won Dallas. So
wow, what a feat!
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
And it's not like I said, that was kind of a cool thing about that. But so anyway, the clinics have been good, and like I said, I enjoy them, and like I said, they're fun for me, and you know what? We call them clinics, and like I said, technology's been so good. I mean, there's different companies, whether it's feeds or clippers or show supplies or trailers. I mean, there's everything, supplements. And so it's almost like a constant update. It's really because I mean, this thing's rocking. And there is good stuff out there that's being made or out there that fly, that's not, known yet or whatever. So, I mean, and we watch it closely just because, we like to try to stay up with it, and know what's going on. But it's like an update. So to me, like I said, if you come to one of my clinics this year, well, there could be some changes when you come next year. Just because of those updates, and so,
you're like an Apple computer. You're just keep on updating, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Keep updating for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're getting really close to Charlotte Junior Nationals, a month away. So, how about you help our listeners, our youngsters that are listening, how to start? Hopefully they are starting to prepare their calves for this big show, and let's cover hair care on specifically Charlotte cattle, because some of that hair can be kind of flat, and it's a little more challenging to deal with than maybe a clubby type. So
I mean, that's been for us, and we have some white ones. So I mean, and I always feel like we're in a little bit worse situation because we have red dirt and white cattle, right? And that's just
Red Angus.
that's rough.
Yeah.
You bet. So,
And red dirt stains. I know that.
yes, it does. It red dirt stains, and I mean, it's like we have to work at it. And so, I mean, obviously, just some maintenance and some management stuff. I guess starting from the ground up. Obviously, if you think you need those feet trimmed, I mean, I'd be getting on that like right away and not bump that up too close to where you've got something that's a little bit more, sensitive to that, and then long travel, and then you get there and they got rock and gravel and concrete and asphalt and all this. So I mean, if I think that's what you got to get done first. And a lot of times it might not be a big hoof trimming major thing, but it might be just, we need to trim the dew claws back, and we need to just shape that foot a little bit, get the hook out, and flatten it a little. And I mean, it doesn't have to be a major deal. I mean, but I'd start there because that's one thing that's got to get done first. But secondly, I mean, this rinsing deal, I do think you got to start putting that into play. And I'm we would have, in our situation, we don't have cattle going this year, but we would have already been under that program. And and like I said, it can be once a day, it can be twice a day. I'll say this. When it comes to, working that hair, and my granddad would roll over in his grave because we probably don't use the rice root brush anymore. I mean, he probably had, I mean, I was raised on a rice root brush, what I mean? And I'm just saying, but I think on that, the thing about a rice root brush, I still like it and I still have respect for it, but it's like, when you look at that, across the board. I mean, little kids, well, here's the deal. Like that rice root brush, it takes one thing to make it work, and that's elbow grease. You gotta, you gotta push it. And if you don't push it, well, then it's almost worse, And so I'm just saying, so I like those, like those wide range brushes or those round brushes, I think those are good on this shorter hair. I like them scrub brushes. This new scrub brushes now are awesome. I mean, because they're pliable, they have less teeth in them. You can kind of get in there and go to work. The drill brushes are good. You can run them legs, tail heads, things like that. Don't get it in the tail. But I'm just saying I do think that. And for us, I'll just kind of tell you what we do. And because of our situation here with our, like I said, red dirt, but we do soak them cattle a lot here. And I think it's the soap that we're using is not what I'd call a fancy soap, but it's one that works, but it's an older soap. It's not Orvis, by the way. But
I was just gonna say,
how old are you going here?
We're throwing her back. Here we go.
That 10-pound bucket
out there just dangling there.
Yeah. They, you know what? They still sell that at our local Baumgars, our local farm
Really?
store. I shoot you not there, but I think the horse people use it though now.
On
the white parts of their legs.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I actually we're using a product called Stierwalt Total Body Wash.
Okay.
And it is a plant-based shampoo. It's made by Stierwalt, and what it does is it leaves some. You can wash the cattle, but it doesn't. It's one of them things that it cleans real good. Like I said, but it doesn't strip the hair.
A little mild.
We're gonna whiten these things. With your shimmer and things like that, your whitening shampoos, your purple shampoos. I mean, we're going to do that when it comes time, but this keeps everything in check. We can wash the cattle a lot. And it's the only soap that we found out there that you can wash cattle a lot and they don't dry out on you. And like I said, it's called Stierwalt Total Body Wash. We actually buy that soap by the 55-gallon drums. So, I mean,
wow.
Yeah, you got to like soap to buy it by the 55-gallon drums. But anyway, but I mean, it's not the soap that we clip with. It's not the soap that we use at the show. Particularly, but it's one that we use on a daily basis. And I mean, we use that. Of course, I think conditioners and all your sprays. I mean, I think those are all good. Obviously, bedding and fans and shade and all that. I mean, we use cedar fiber for bedding here, and that's what we like here. Our whole barn's set up like that. But I think that rinsing daily and washing, as much when you can. But the thing on the washing thing is that you got to have the right soap. I mean, that's gonna be critical. But I still think we still here like to tie them up for a few hours under the fan. I'm just saying with their heads up, elevated. We're trying to kind of teach that height and whatnot. But fly spray. I think the biggest thing for those that are going through the summer, we're really careful on the fly spray that it's not too oily.
Okay. Yep.
Because they can get hot. Hot. I just was at a clinic here a few weeks ago, and I went up there to the calf. Boy, he just was oily, but. And I was like, I thought he put some kind of spray oil on, but it was just fly spray. But yeah. But go ahead.
So what do you use? So just like daily hair care, beyond after you get done with the shampooing, is there something they're using for hair stimulator? Or?
Yes, we are big fans of the Pro Hair. I love that stuff. It's basically essential oils, but it is something that. You'll smell the tea tree oil in there. It keeps that skin, to me, in good shape. It's one that, like I said, it has a lot of different essential oils in it, and it's not a cheaper product, but it's something that is designed to grow hair and promote hair growth. I know, I shouldn't even say this, but I know some people that put it on themselves. I'm just having their own hair.
There you go, Mitch. We found your daily. You can grow your hair back.
But I'm just saying, that stuff there is our go-to. It's one that it's not so heavy that you can't use it in these summer months. It's.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it's a lighter product.
It's a lighter product, and obviously, I think using conditioners and whatnot is good, but I like that stuff. When it comes to sheen, when I say sheen, there's different ones, whether you're talking show sheen or whatever's out there. But I'm just saying, but Weaver makes a product called Pro Sheen, and I like it.
Did we lose him?
There we are. Yeah, it's the concentrate. So we use the concentrate sheen. I like the concentrate sheen.
Yeah.
Just because there's a savings there. $15 a gallon. That's pretty substantial. As far as all you got to do is take that bottle and put it in an empty gallon jug. Gallon jug and fill it up with water. And you know what? And shake it up, and you got, to me, sheen. And the other thing is, in your show boxes, it really works well with your space saving type situations where you can have 4 of those bottles in one jug, and it's not like having 4 gallons occupying your show box. But it is light. It's light. I like that it's light. So anyway,
I really like your Easy All Total body shampoo for, 2 reasons. I like the idea for the Charolais cattle, but I don't know if you ever actually been washing cattle next to Mitch. So he's the one that blasts everybody in the wash rack. So now I know I am safe. Yeah. He's one of those.
Carrie's never washed an animal, so he don't even know.
He doesn't have the wash rack etiquette. So, I am glad that we know that I am safe now. So when Mitch is blowing everybody off with his shampoo.
Right.
Is that correct, Mitch?
So tell me this: do you have full hazmat, wash suit going into the
That's Gary. Yes, that's Gary.
Is that Gary? I thought maybe it might be.
No, that's not me. I'm not the
That's
hazmat.
hilarious.
I'm pretty decent with the washing. I walk in there with my tennis shoes or whatever.
Hey, man.
Gary,
he just
yeah,
gets everybody.
He's got the knee-high mud boots and yellow suit, and
I always told everybody, if you go to Denver and go in one of them little bitty wash racks, like it's in the middle of them barns, barn,
and you see somebody wearing that.
You'll know you're wash rack etiquette, because it's like you're all in there just like squished in there. You're trying to not have a mad neighbor. So anyway,
man. Well, truth be known, truth be known, my wife is the one that actually douses everybody, but she does make friends with all of them. So, I'm the guy that's dragging cattle back and forth, and I come back, and by the end of the deal, she's like best friends with everybody. But then I did figure out she has mixed drinks that she's giving everybody that even if it's in the morning. So she's making friends in another way.
It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to kind of get a little wild out there, with your soap or water. You know what I mean?
Afraid to 4-H'ers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You got to have fun. You got to have fun doing this. So
right.
Well, that's an awesome. Go ahead.
I do think on that, the grooming part. It's like, here we get questions on, what do you leave them wet or do you dry them? Here we dry them. I mean, we like to get a little bit some air in that hair, and I'm just saying we don't like to leave them just wet and kind of having that hair compressed. So we do we do dry them when we get done. So anyway,
good idea.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I think if you do dry them, and one thing I do know, if you leave them wet, they turn yellow. If you dry them, they stay whiter. So anyway, so that's
a good tip right there. That's a really good tip for these.
Well, and we see it in the Herefords too. If you don't blow the white, if you do not blow the white, then they'll get yellow headed on you. If we blow the white, like I say, stay white. So anyway, so that's there's some go ahead.
There's some really good tips with daily hair care. So let's dive into some supplements. So I've gone through your supplements, and I really like how you mark them on a calf. I've been through some of your programs, and so you got the Morse code, which I really appreciate. So you got UFDC, PFPC, GT, F35, F52. So it's like, do we have a bomber coming in, or what do we got going?
Exactly.
If we can go through each one of those products and start with whatever you want, but what does it actually do to help these kids? So other than just buying a bag of feed.
Okay, so before we get into that, I do want to touch on one thing on the grooming part, on the clipping part.
Oh, clipping. Okay.
And one thing that I would recommend specifically for the Charolais cattle, and it could be, but for the Herefords, Red Angus, but I mean, I'll tell you what, if you haven't, on these shoulders and on these necks, but if you haven't used like the Andis stainless steel guard set, those things are incredible. I mean, incredible. Yes. And I'm just telling you, a lot of times, like them, specifically on their necks, and I mean, like I said, they're not high dollar. They're really pretty cheap, and we use them with the number 10 blade. And I like the ceramic, but I'm just saying that say you got one that's got wrinkles and you need to tighten it up, but you don't want to expose them, well, you can do that with the guards. Just, a Hereford or a Red Angus or something like that. You need to get it tightened down, but you don't want to change the color of it, where it's yellow or orange. Then you can do that with the guards. And if you'd have told me I was going to be promoting guards 5 years ago, no way. But I'm they're awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm telling you, they are a lifesaver, and I tell you what, they make cattle look great. I mean, they do, especially on that hair that's like long enough. It's what I'd say that I don't know what to do with hair, and to me, it's an awesome option for that. It really is. So those are Andis stainless steel animal combs. I'm telling you what, those things are the bomb. So anyway, okay, so we can get back to supplements. First off is when it comes to water, I do believe I mean, without a doubt, that Show Fresh H2O stuff is great stuff. And I mean, it deals with chlorine. It's a must have in the box because what it, I'm talking about Holland water, filters and all this stuff that, Kool-Aid and who knows what that you can put in the water. But this stuff deals with the chlorine and
Bud Light.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, right. But anyway, but I'm just saying this stuff deals with the chlorine where 15 cc's in a 5-gallon bucket, what it does is it turns the chlorine to table salt.
Oh.
So, yeah. And so animals are attracted to salt. And I'm just saying is, where these shows are at these, state fairs and big cities, it's the chlorine that gets to be the problem. If they're not drinking, then our eating situation is not good. So I would definitely, is it full 100% guaranteed? I can't say that, but I'm telling you, it does up your odds. It's not snake oil, I promise you.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that's called Show Fresh H2O. When it comes to the supplements, I do think one thing that going to these junior nationals, one thing I'd get on the radar pretty, like pre-going, because you are bouncing these things down the road, but they do have a product. The A that you see in the middle, and like I said, these are Purina. They're the high octane supplement line. But if you see that diagram, you'll see an A in the middle if I draw it, but that's called Alleviate. And what it is a pH gut balancer. So when cattle stress or they get diarrhea or they bloat or anything like that, the pH in the gut goes down, then acid comes in and their stomach gets all out of whack. This stuff here, I would recommend putting that in your ration before you go because it'll keep the stomach in check. It's not a probiotic. It just keeps the stomach from getting out of whack pH wise. And like I said, what they did is they took that technology from the performance horse world and redesigned that formula because these guys are going in slack rodeo, slack rodeo. I mean, I'm talking like roading them things hard. And so they took that and turned it into a livestock product, which has been phenomenal. So anyway, that's called Alleviate. When it comes to, your fill products, Precon is a 50-year-old product. It's low in fat, high in fiber. It's one to bulk them up, tank them up. It's 26% fiber, so it's way up there. Cattle like it. It's not a show deal. I mean, that stuff's is legitimately calf starter. You know what I mean? I mean, so what I'm just saying is, but it's palatable. And, them things go to it. I mean, the reason cattle like it because it is calf starter. I mean, that's what you start your calves on. And so years ago, it used to be called receiving chow and all that. And so, like I said, it's 50 years old, but it's nothing to have a third of their diet on that Precon, and it's not a supplement. It is a feed. So they can gain weight on it. It's just a low fat, high fiber. The two that are good on fill that I want to kind of just touch on here is the depth charge. They call it depth charge, but that stuff actually doesn't do anything for depth. That's kind of named wrong. But anyway, it's kind of bad. But anyway, depth charge actually is an upper fill, not a lower fill, and it fills that pocket in up high. That empty pocket behind your last rib there, and I'm just saying is that's where it works awesome because it's a real fast acting product that will really, to me, it tanks them up and makes their rib cage round. But like I said, it hooks the side of the stomach up to the top of the back, and like I said, rounds all that. It's like a awesome at show product. I mean, some people use it at home, but I think 1 cup of that in your ration, and it's a visual deal. It's fast. I mean, they do demonstration where they put half a cup of depth charge in there and then fill it up with half a cup of water, and then just a little bit, here it comes. It's all rolling out the top. So it's quick. It's a smaller pellet than Precon, but it is an upper fill, not a lower fill. So I mean,
would you feed that prior to the show or just wait till
I would? I mean, to me, I would just to get a feel for it. You know what I mean? You kind of get a gauge on, because I'm telling you, like, and I'd recommend, like, when I say a cup, I'm talking like that Purina high octane cup, but I'd recommend like starting with a cup. Naturally, if they're longer bodied, it might take more, and what I'm just saying is, so it is fast. I will say this, for those folks that are feeding beet pulp, I mean, that's been around for a long time and whatnot. It's kind of a it does a good job. I mean, they tank up on it and get, full on it. But a lot of times, a couple hours, they crater out and they're still good down low, but they're empty up high. And
Right.
So if you are using beet pulp, I would suggest using depth charge with it, just because it'll kind of make that whole formulation better. It'll make your beet pulp fill last longer, and you end up with a high and a low fill as well. So.
Perfect.
I think depth charge does complement beet pulp in that situation. The Ultra Full is a new formula now. They changed it, and it's a good thing because it's a small pellet, but it used to be 4% fat. Now they lowered it to 1 and up the fiber some more. But the thing that I like about that Ultra Full, I mean, there has been cattle over periods of time that have backed off the pre-con, started like sorting it out, kind of got bored with it and whatnot. Well, this is kind of a good deal to go into. The deal that makes Ultra Full very unique is it's a little bit more slower reacting. So when they, it and depth charge are kind of the same pellet, but when you look, I'm just saying it is a different formula and the way it's designed to go, but it's a little bit slower reacting, I guess, as far as like starting to work. And what happens is, they eat it, depth charge goes right to work, boom, here we go. This kind of stays a little more idle, and is a little bit more delayed in its response. And then once, so that way it gets a little bit more deeper into the back 1/3 flank. And, so we get a little bit, to me, deeper kind of fill back in that area. It kind of targets that back in there. But I'm going to just say, we kind of think like 3 pounds per feeding. But, if you got one that needs that fill, needs that extra, I mean, we have fed them things half Ultra Full, half feed. I mean,
oh, wow.
And I'm just going to say this, like if it was show day, and your calf, all it wants to do is eat Ultra Full, then I'd feed it Ultra Full. I wouldn't
just let them eat it. Yeah.
Let them eat it. Yeah.
They
Absolutely.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's a new formula. And I obviously you could read the tag. I think the quickest way to be like, because some of these stores can have, new inventory, old inventory or whatever, but there is a red badge or patch on that bag now, and it says new formula, lower fat, higher fiber. And I think when that's been an addition to that bag, and so that's been a good thing. So anyway, but I mean those are good fill products to me out there on the road, and it's like obviously there's the other ones like Fitter 52 and Fitter 35 and Golden Ticket's a new one out. I mean, it's for those people that got steers. I mean, that stuff right there. If you're going to your county after junior nationals or I mean, that stuff's like game changer stuff to me. I mean, I've
Golden
never talked
Ticket.
to somebody. Yeah, I'm telling you, I have never talked to somebody that did not use that product that didn't like think they were totally amazed. I mean, that stuff. To me, it is it's a little bit like Power Fuel and Champion Drive together, but it's really just the good things out of those two products. There's a whole bunch of megas in there, but the other thing is it's compounded with a complex amount of calories, and so it's what I say is it's hurry up offense. If you're a sports fan, it's called hurry up offense. All right, so
right.
That's what it is. So
what are you seeing results?
If you get to where you're like, running out of time and you're like, man, I need muscle and I need mass and I need, and this would be more on the steer side of it, what I mean? But I mean, you're like, man, I just need to turn that corner, and man, I'm telling you what, that stuff's in some incredible product to me. It's like, and I'm talking across the board, like lambs and goats. And like I said, I haven't talked to anybody that hasn't used that. We've got some steers on that stuff. We're talking 4 pounds a day on some of them that we're using. So basically, yeah, I mean, we're cranking on them. So anyway, but like I said, Power Fuel, like I said, that product's incredible too, because that's where technology's been great. You know, Power Fuel, the thing about it is like 1 pound of Power Fuel a day, which is 8 ounces in the morning, 8 at night. That's that's not that much. Is equivalent to 7 pounds of corn, fat wise, 4 pounds of corn, energy wise. But there's no carbohydrates in it. Doesn't heat them up. Actually has flaxseed oil in it. It's good for the skin and hair. I think it makes cattle great. Because it the way it's designed. We won a lot. We won the carcass contest, and all the steers that Kai won all the majors with. State fairs, all of them, they all graded choice, and up back to steer that he won Denver with, graded low prime. But the common denominator of that whole thing was the Power Fuel. So,
oh wow,
it's a dried fat. Looks like cat food. The dogs eat it. I mean, I'm telling you, it's just like it's kind of like this. Fat. Hey, it makes stuff look good. It wins. It sells. I'm telling you, fat's a good thing, right? So.
Yeah. See, Mitch, this will help out your show chickens.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right. The next one, I don't know. So
I was gonna say about that. We don't have any chickens left.
Yeah. So they were gonna have Larry's gonna be the new one or something. Maybe it's Cliff. I don't know.
Yeah. There you go. Oh yeah.
There's
that'd be a very cocky rooster.
Yeah, Carrie, not Gary. Carrie. Carrie, not Gary. Carrie.
Well, Kirk, there's a funny story, and people have heard this on our episode, but April 1st or prior to, I got an email that I had some roosters showing up to my house, unbeknownst to me, via my little partner over there was sending some, but I got it detoured and sent back his way, and then so. There's a lot of history behind this chicken thing. So
I gotcha. I kind of feel like I'm late to the party here. Don't
you have to listen to our other episodes.
For crying out loud, they're trying to get me caught up. All right.
You have to listen to our other episodes. Yep. Well, that's a really good snapshot on all those supplements, because obviously they all do different things. On that golden ticket, is that in is it? I guess I haven't seen that one. Is it a 50-pound bag?
It actually looks like Power Fuel. Are you familiar with Power Fuel?
Yes.
It looks just like it, except it's gold.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it's that extruded nugget, and it's that same kind of look. One thing about the golden ticket is like we found out. And I'm gonna crazy is it. We're really trying to put the we're really trying to put the throttle, on the gas, I'm just telling you, like, get after, like, some of them steers will actually be giving them golden ticket and Power Fuel both. So,
okay.
And you can, for some, because of the way it's put together is you can feed a lot more golden ticket, and so, and like I said, they can handle a lot of, obviously you're going to do this slowly, but that stuff right there, is incredible, so, I'd say, as far as getting to the show and whatnot, bed them trailers. You know what, you need to really work at that, getting that trailer bedded down and making sure it takes some of the road jar and the shock and get that trailer ready to rock. I'm just telling you, you might end up having to stop or whatever. I'll tell you what, this traffic around the country, there's a lot of construction, and you can get hung up. And like I said, I don't know. You just, like I said, make sure you get them trailers bedded. That's an important process for these junior nationals, but it's really important for any of them. You got to be bedded. So anyway,
very important. That is good points. That's something we start out with fresh bedding when we hit the road like this, and make sure it's nice and 6 to 8 inches deep. Or
it's going to be extra. I'm just saying. Those. Yeah, you want to make sure that's like that. So, but no, like I said, so those are just tools. Like you said, the
great tools.
The Prina stuff is good. Like I said, the supplements have been a good addition because they all do a little bit different stuff, and And like I said, in the heifer world, the Fitter 52 and the 35, those two have been great because, they are fat burners and they are designed, but they're fat burners, but yet have a nutritional value to them. And that kind of separates them.
Right.
And I'm going to say this, one reason 52 came along, and including us, we were feeding so mass amounts of 35, getting it to work like we wanted it to, and as aggressive as we wanted it to. And so it was just a matter of time that 52 was going to come along. So anyway, and I'm going to say, some of them big bred heifers, what you try, a steer to me is way easier to feed than a heifer because you got deadlines. You got target dates, you got rate of gains. Everything, it's the math. You do the math, you know where you're at or where you're not at. Like the heifers, it's like, don't get them too fat, but they got to be fleshy enough to do good too. And I'm just saying, then you got to try to keep that, which is hard. And maintain that, especially if you're going junior national, then you're going to hit a state fair or go something in the fall. And I'm just saying, so, like I said, the 52 has been a good one, to help with those things, So one thing that I do know that Purina doesn't promote that I think is good for these summer shows or road shows, I'm just saying is they make a product called Full Control. I'm not sure if you've used that, but it's high in fiber and not a lot of energy to it, but it's like one of them fluffy kind of base feeds that, and we use a lot on the heifers, especially on the, some of them Charolais, we can feed a lot longer and harder, but maybe a Hereford, they're a little bit more quicker in their flesh sometimes. And so we got to watch these chests a little bit harder. And that full control feed has been a really a great asset to do that. The other thing is on the steers, if we got a calf that's gaining too much and we need to, instead of going 3.2 and we want to do 2.6 or something because of math, we can blend that 50-50 and still have them balanced, still have it fresh. So you actually are not, cutting it with beet pulp and changing all your numbers and oats and cottonseed oil and all that. It's actually you're mixing a balanced feed with another balanced feed and all your numbers stay good. So I'm just saying is that Full Control is a good one too.
That's a good, got that wrote down. Well, Mitch has got a really fun story about his son when he met you at the Exarban Livestock Show.
Yeah,
that I think we want a little inspirational story to conclude our episode here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So this had to be probably one of the last ones they had down there at the Quest Center downtown Omaha. And so Devin was, I believe he could have been about 12-ish, probably something like that. And him and my daughter wanted to be on a fitting team, but they only had two kids from our county, so they got on the wild card fitting team. Well, they got lined up with a good friend of ours now, but we actually just met him at the fitting contest. His name's Aaron Seward from Iowa. And so we didn't really know him at all, but Aaron and the kids, meet each other. Okay, what are we gonna do? And Devin says, well, we could use my sister's heifer, and it was this peach colored composite heifer that we had. And so they get in the contest and they get going after it. And I think he'd walked up to my son and said, well, what's this heifer? And I don't know if my son even knew if you were a judge, if you were the part of the Exarban, if you were, what exactly your role was. He's,
they were always looking,
Yeah. It's Wax Alone out of the Charlotte cow. We got it from Jamie Fred. And they go on and they did an excellent job, but just two younger kids with a little more experienced kid, because I think Aaron was just coming off a win in the Iowa State Fair with the steer that year. And I'm sitting here watching and I'm like, who is this kid and why is he on a wild card team? But anyways, so we ended up hiring him to help us with our Charolais heifers the next day. But you had talked to Devin a couple of times, and finally I think the last time you walked up to him and said, hey, I got a can of paint. You said you stop by my booth and I'll give you a can of paint to match that heifer's hair. because she was one of them peach colored, and I think maybe Weaver just come out with a little better paints about right then, and so he gets done with the fitting contest, and Dad, that there was a guy in there said that I got to go over to his booth. Well, anyways, he didn't know who you were, and then he's like, comes running back. He goes, "They had a whole demonstration there." Blah blah. So he sat there for about an hour, so it was kind of neat. So,
That's awesome.
and since then, he's really took a lot of initiative to.
I don't ever get tired of hearing them stories. I don't.
Yeah, no, and he's turned it into a pretty good business for him. So.
Well, I think that's what we appreciate, Kirk, especially for you being on with us to share these stories. Even when you came out here, came and had dinner with us, and you took the time to sit down and just visit and go through some stuff. A lot of people don't do that. And
I remember that. Like I remember coming to your place like it was yesterday. I mean,
I appreciate
unless you
that.
moved, I know that place. So
No, we not yet. The
nice
Seattle might drive me out, but we're doing good so far. But we do appreciate, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of funny you were talking about the love of art, and so my daughter, she'd been fitting cattle. Well, actually, she learned how to fit sheep also. Frame Suffolk sheep, and then fitting cattle. Well, about January, she decided to get into hair, or beauty school. And so her teachers have said she caught on faster than anybody in this beauty school. And it's like, well, it makes sense. She's fit sheep, she's fit cattle, and it's easy for her, but she's artistic, right? And plus my sister's a beautician, and her, my wife's sister is also. So there's some genetics there maybe, but having that artistic talent to begin with to carve out these animals is huge. And so it's been kind of a fun. It is. And but it's kind of fun. Cora learned it on the flip side of, working in the 4-H and FFA program.
Well, that's what I was talking about. You could have that talent and that, gift, and it might, how it affects you. It's like, here, in a different way, but that's awesome. So
no.
In another field, what I'm saying is in a totally different field, so
that's
cool.
It's great. So, well, thank you. We've reached our hour mark, and thank you, Kirk, for being on with us, the Charlotte Chatter podcast. And that is a wrap for our season 2, episode 17 already. And Charlotte Junior Nationals is going to be here in Minnesota before you know it. So hope to see you there.
Thank you for having me, and good luck to all them exhibitors and all the shows they go to. And like I said, just dream big. That's all I say. Dream big.
Yeah. See you next trip. Have a good one, my friends.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Sometimes good boys act like bad boys. Don't take offense. Deep down, we're all little boys. It's just part of our DNA. A 7-day road trip, hanging out with friends. Nothing but fun adventures and drinking. Come on, y'all, make a little noise. The boys will be boys.
That's a wrap. Awesome.
Okay. Well,
wow.
Sorry, I went over the mark a little bit.
No, you did good. We were cranking.